Ken Ofori-Atta was a polarizing figure in Ghana's politics. The former finance minister divided opinions in his own party with a 7-year tenure rocked with a considerable amount of controversies. The former banker and co-founder of Data Bank was at the helm of affairs in the finance ministry for nearly a decade, the longest of any other finance minister. Having been sacked, my colleague Kweku Asante takes a look back at some key moments in his tenure.
I believe he's exactly the right man to lead our country's economic revival with the support and under the chairmanship of the Vice President and the Economic Management Committee. I recommend him very strongly to the Parliament for approval as the next Finance Minister of Ghana. That is Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta.
The soft-spoken Bible quoter and all-white wearing Ken Ofori-Atta assumed the reins as finance minister in 2017. Just months into his tenure, he was rocked with conflict of interest allegations and the issuance by Stretch. Ken Ofori-Atta had a rocky but relatively stable first term. Much of his troubles began when he was reappointed in 2021. Ken Ofori-Atta fell ill. His situation was so worse that 2021 budget was read by Majority Leader Osei Sabonsu.
In designating me as the minister with temporary responsibility for the Ministry of Finance.
The economy takes a nosedive with skyrocketing inflation, high interest rates, and general economic hardship. But Mr. Ofori-Atta stays put, blaming the economic crisis on COVID-19 and the war in Ukraine.
The current state of our debt has a lot to do with the lingering effects of the COVID-19 pandemic and the Ukraine war.
Despite excruciating economic challenges, Ken Ofori-Atta, with the backing of the president, splashed public funds on lofty plans of constructing a cathedral. After several millions of dollars have been spent, the project is still at the foundation level, sitting in the heart of Accra. When the economic situation does not improve, Ken has to think outside the box. What does he do? He abolishes road tolls and introduces the unpopular and controversial E-levy, which many have said was the beginning of his end. Facing a spirited opposition in Parliament, Ken Ofori-Atta went around the country rallying support for the E-levy, which is sold as the panacea to the country's woes. He declared then that the country was never going to return to the International Monetary Fund.
We are not going to the IMF. Whatever we do, we are not. The consequences are there. We are a proud nation. We have the resources. We have the capacity.
Eventually, after MPs he gets his E-levy, but the economic situation does not improve. Ghana now swallows its pride and applies to the IMF for a bailout. Ken Ofori-Atta remains in office. Now MPs from his own party, close to 100 of them, have had enough and in an unprecedented move, demanded his dismissal.
We are by this medium communicating our strong desire that the President change the Minister of Finance and the Minister of State in the Finance Ministry without further delay.
His cousin, the President, Nana Dankwa, jumps to his defense and keeps him at post. The opposition in Parliament then files a motion to censure him.
It's unacceptably high for businesses. The pharmaceutical industry is complaining because it affects their imports and they are made to pay more. The depreciation of the city has affected even Makwala women.
Ken Ofori-Atta miraculously survives all these attempts to remove him. To raise more revenue, Ken Ofori-Atta introduces a debt exchange program, a program so unpopular it drove a former Chief Justice to the streets in protest.
It's rude, it's wicked, it's unlawful, it's not right. It lacks good faith, it lacks humanity.
But after 7 years, Ken Ofori-Atta's cup becomes full. His cousin, the President, succumbs pressure and sacks him. He's now penciled for a role as special advisor at the presidency. Andy Apiakubi, MP for Asante Achimno, and one of the NPP MPs who demanded his dismissal, tells JoyNews the decision to dismiss Ken Ofori-Atta is coming a little too late, but still welcoming. Ken Ofori-Atta has been the longest serving finance minister in the Fourth Republic. He served for 7 years. Many, including the opposition NDC, have said he has overseen Ghana's worst economic performance in a generation, but still divides opinion, even as he exits as Minister for Finance. For JoyNews, Kweku Asante.